in the headlines right now, people are saying, oh, prices are gonna fall or prices are gonna drop or just hold out. What are you seeing and what do you think is gonna come?
Okay, well, housing prices, in my opinion, are not going to be dropping anytime soon, if they're going to drop at all.
Welcome back to Build Your Business with Brittany, the real estate agent training series where we turn hustle into closings and knowledge into confidence. I'm Brittany Handura, real estate agent, coach, and investor, and I'm here to make real estate easy for you. I want to help you build a business you love and a life you're proud of. Let's dive in and level up your real estate game starting now.
Brittany's going to translate in English.
Yes, I'll try.
All right, so what I wanted to talk a little bit about, and I've been doing some presentations on, is with regard to the current market that we're in. I meet with a lot of clients either at open houses or coming in to get pre-qualified, and obviously people are out there, they want to buy a home, but they're still very apprehensive. They're waiting for that perfect moment of housing prices to drop, interest rates to go lower, or the economy or the world to get into a better place. And everybody just seems to be so apprehensive about what's happening in the market, and they have these fears or anxieties or unfortunately negative perceptions on the housing market or buying real estate at this time. So what I'm always trying to do is to help people understand when is the right time to buy, and you'll hear that asked all the time. Now is always the right time to buy. And if you ask me that question tomorrow or a month from now or a year from now, I'll tell you the same answer. Now is always the right time to buy, simply because there are a lot of benefits and attributes afforded to owning a home as opposed to renting or waiting for that perfect moment for when that right time may present itself for somebody. And getting into the marketplace now, in my opinion, is going to be the best thing that anybody can do, so long as it's comfortable and affordable, and obviously if we can qualify them for the loan. But if they can afford to purchase the home and can buy the home right now, I think now is always going to be the best time, simply because there are so many benefits to home ownership. And that was one of the things I wanted to talk a little bit about today, so that we can try to get buyers out of the doldrums and that negativity and fear, and start showing them some of the benefits and some of the positive mindsets that they should be focusing on.
Yeah, and I can attest to this myself.
Martin.
I can attest to this myself. I bought a home when interest rates were not at 3%. They were 6, 7%. And I said, you know what, I buy into this. I know that this is true. And what I've seen is that over time, if I would have said, okay, well, I'm not gonna buy right now, I'm gonna wait, I'm gonna hold off, especially if I was renting, which I did sell my home first and then buy something else. So in that short interim, I was renting. And if I would have decided I'm gonna stay renting for this period of time, I would have lost out on the appreciation that now I've gotten over a couple years. So the appreciation is a key factor that I think a lot of people miss out on. But in the headlines right now, people are saying, oh, prices are gonna fall or prices are gonna drop or just hold out. What are you seeing and what do you think is gonna come?
Okay, well, housing prices, in my opinion, are not going to be dropping anytime soon, if they're going to drop at all. Reason being, there is such a shortage of housing supply right now. And the reason for that is because back in 2020, 2021, people were refinancing their homes and they have interest rates at 2.5% or 3% or maybe 4%. Those people aren't going anywhere for a while because they're going to hang on to that for the affordability and comfort of owning their home. But when you have a lot of inventory in marketplaces, that's when prices are going to start dropping, because you have more availability or buyers have more homes to pick and choose from. So as demand is still high and supply is still low, housing prices are not dropping. And at such point in time that interest rates do drop, which those will at some point in time, my prediction is going to be in the next 12 to 18 months, we're going to start seeing more of a slight to significant drop in rates. But it's going to take a little while because there's still a lot of economic things that are still helping those interest rates to stay a little bit on the high side. But when interest rates do drop, everybody is going to be in the market, and all that's going to do is create more demand of buyers, still having a little bit less inventory, and housing prices are not going to be dropping. So if you're waiting for that to happen, do not wait for housing prices to drop. You're going to get caught in the crosshairs, and it's going to be a challenge.
Yeah. This is something we talk about all the time. It's always supply and demand. So there's low inventory. And some people I'm hearing like, oh, well, once interest rates drop, then people are going to sell their houses. But they're still going to have to trade up. The interest rates are not going down to 2 or 3%. It went down to that because we had a global pandemic.
Right.
Hopefully that does not happen anytime in the near future. But that was the reason. There was a significant impact to our economy, which is why interest rates dropped so low. So all of these people are not going to be selling. Will we have more people selling? Sure, we'll have more people selling, but that demand will be even higher. Correct. So if right now supply is here and demand is here, well, once interest rates go down, it'll probably go up like that. Actually, probably more like that. So
exactly.
We are still seeing that the buyer demand is pretty strong right now. Even though the interest rates are relatively high, buyer demand is pretty strong, which is why housing prices are continuing to go up. So you mentioned your prediction. I want to hear about your prediction. First off, tell us where interest rates are today, right now, as we stand. And then you're saying you think you see an interest rate drop coming. Tell us your predictions on that.
Okay, so predictions. So current interest rates, as much as I hate to say, we're back into the sevens. Right now, we're hovering right at 7.125%, and that's the good guy rate, depending on down payment, credit score, and a lot of other factors, housing type, condo versus single-family residence. There can be a lot of fluctuation as to what creates what interest rate somebody may get. So this is where you as realtors and myself as a loan professional will help counsel clients and guide them into how we can make all of this work for them. So right now, interest rates, conventional loans hovering right around 7%, FHA, VA hovering around the mid-sixes. So still some opportunity for people. And as far as where I think interest rates are going to go in the near future, as inflation eases, which hopefully it will over time. This is not something that realistically we're going to see through this second quarter of this year, but I'm hoping, and I hate to say that because hope is not a plan, that in the third and fourth quarter of this year, hopefully things start settling down a little bit in terms of what's happening globally with regard to economic things that are creating some of these higher prices and creating higher interest rates at this time, or higher inflation at this time. Once inflation starts to ease a little bit, we're going to start seeing interest rates do the same thing, and over time, hopefully interest rates will start getting back into a normalization period, maybe around that 5.5% to 6%, instead of pushing 6.5% to 7% or higher at this time.
And usually people start to buy, they're like more excited about buying when interest rates hit what?
Great question. So it was funny, not that long ago we were pushing that 8% range, and that scared the you-know-what out of a lot of people. So when rates got down into the sevens, you started seeing a little bit more activity. Sixes are a nice magic number. 5, I'm going the wrong direction. 5% ranges is where people, I think, are really going to start getting more of that sense of normalcy back in the market. So as we start getting back into that maybe mid to low 6% range, which is where we were probably about 6 months ago. So there was a lot more demand at that time, and then interest rates started going back up again. So preferably, I think people want to see mid to low sixes, and ultimately something in that upper to mid 5% range.
Yeah, and we do see that coming eventually.
I do. I really do. Once inflation starts easing and the Fed start getting back into the game in terms of getting the economy back onto an even keel, we'll start seeing that happen. But it's going to take a while before we start seeing 5s. I'd like to start seeing mid 6s, maybe over the next third to fourth quarter, and hopefully easing from there.
Okay, got it? Remember, if you have any questions, pop them in the chat. If you need more clarity or if you want to go deeper on something, pop it in the chat. I'm checking the chat, so I will be able to answer any or ask Martin any questions that you guys have. Or you can go off mute and come on and ask us in real time too. Okay, so Martin, you host a workshop every Wednesday. Is it every Wednesday?
Actually, I'm doing it once a month now.
Once a month. So tell us a little bit about that, and then I'll do a little commercial.
Okay. I do my Mortgage 101 class typically around the middle of the month on Wednesdays at 1 o'clock here in the office and on Zoom. And I try to talk about pertinent topics or recent topics that may help you in terms of being able to better promote yourselves, help your buyers and sellers in being able to create a better marketplace for everybody involved.
And how do they get more information about that?
Great question. So I send out emails prior to, and the virtual assistant, Sandra, I believe, sends out that information via text and emails as well. So my mortgage classes are always promoted through the office, and emails and text messages are sent out typically prior to. And if you look at the What's Coming Up calendar, it will always show when the Mortgage 101 class is, typically around the middle Wednesday of the month.
Okay, so if they want to get on your email list, they can just email you?
They can, yes.
Okay, so, and his email is up on the screen, so just email Martin if you want to get on that email list to be notified. Now, the reason I bring that up is because this week you talked about buyers in the marketplace and
Yes.
what's going on, and so I have a slide that we're going to jump into, and I want you to just take it over and tell us a little bit about what we're looking at here.
I can do that. Thank you so much. So in the presentation, again, I was trying to help agents understand, trying to get buyers into the mindset of having a positive outlook on buying homes at this time. Again, everybody is so fearful and negative, and there's so many issues that people have right now with the home buying process that they're basically taking a back seat to wanting to do anything at this time, and they're waiting for the right time to make a move or purchase a home or get back into the marketplace. And again, the right time is now. So always let your clients know that. So trying to help them get out of the doldrums and maintaining a positive outlook on this, I always try to help agents understand to remember the reasons behind the decision to buy a home.
Before we continue, I want to remind you that if you're looking for even more real estate resources like an open house roadmap or a social media content calendar, then click the freebie link below because I have all kinds of resources to make real estate easy for you. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and now let's jump back in.
If somebody wants to buy a home, let's start focusing on all of those reasons why, instead of all the reasons why they shouldn't at this time. Get them out of that negativity mindset, getting them into that positive mindset to be able to help them. And keep focusing on why are you purchasing a home. And then you can also focus on all of the benefits of owning a home. So forget about the higher price, forget about the higher rates. If you can qualify for the loan, and if it's comfortable and affordable for you to do at this time, which I help the clients understand. Whenever I pre-approve somebody, I'm always looking at where are you comfortable at with a payment, but let's look at where your qualifications may be. So now I show them, okay, for the payment you want, your price range is here. But for your qualifications, your price range is here. So at least now I give them a bridge to be able to make decisions with in understanding, well, I don't want the price ranges here because I don't like the homes or the locations in this price range. I don't want my payments this high, but at least now we have a happy medium to try to play within to be able to find the right property. So this way, in talking with clients, we're not here to sell them anything, but to provide them with information so they can make informed decisions, not only from a qualification standpoint, but what they feel is comfortable and affordable for them, and then giving up something to get something better in return. If I don't want this high of a payment, I'm going to give up the property I want or the location I want. But if I want this area, I may give up the comfortability or affordability, but I still qualify for the loan and I can still make this work. And at least we're giving buyers the options of understanding what their possibilities are so they can make those decisions. But again, in talking to them about having that positive attitude, let's start looking at all of the benefits created by owning a home. We have equity and wealth creation, the tax benefits of owning a home, which can be huge for buyers, and that can help bridge the gap of their affordability as well. If somebody right now is getting a little bit back from the IRS or the state on their tax returns, but now by owning a home, they're going to get a lot more back, that difference can help subsidize the difference in mortgage payment that they felt was comfortable for them. So this way they can claim more deductions on their payroll, have less withholding, have more take-home pay, and be able to afford a better or higher mortgage payment as well to comfortably afford the home that they're now looking at. We can also look at stable housing costs. Right now, because of rents increasing the way they have, and because of all the rent caps that cities and counties are imposing on landlords right now, landlords are going to be more likely to raise rents on an annual basis because they're limited to how much they can go from one year to the next. And if they don't raise the rent for 2 or 3 or 4 years, then all of a sudden they want to get to market rents with the same tenants in the property. They can't get to market rent anymore. They are limited to a very insufficient percentage that they can increase the rent by. So we're going to start seeing landlords increasing rents on an annual basis, which is going to skyrocket that as well. What about pride of ownership? Owning a home is much nicer than renting a home. Even though you can rent a nice home and be in a nice area, and there's nothing wrong with renting if that's what you so choose, but by owning your own home, you can make it yours, do whatever you want with it, whenever you want with it, without having to call the landlord and asking, is it okay if I make some improvements to the house or do something differently to it?
You know, it's funny that you mentioned that. I just have a quick funny
okay.
story. So okay, I'm 41. I'm not like a kid, but I feel like I just got married 1 year ago. 2 years? 1 year ago. I just got married. And so I feel like now we're doing these things. It's like, oh my gosh, we're big kids now. So we just put our house in a trust. We just did the quit claim deed yesterday. Yeah. Like all these things that we're doing that we're like, wow, we are big kids. So the house that we have has a garage and it was not finished and it was really ugly. And yesterday, or on Sunday, we just decided randomly to repaint the garage. So if you're seeing like paint splatters on me, that's what it's for. Yes, I showered a couple of times, but still, it was a mess. But we decided to repaint the garage. And I kept saying, this is such a big kid thing to do because you would not do that in a rental. Right. And even though I've owned a home for a number of years, I never had like my own garage. Actually, I did, but I never had like a big garage that I was doing stuff with and I was in all the time and working in. So it was just something that we were able to do that felt really good for us. Now, this is something that's not gonna like raise our property value so much, but it's that pride of ownership piece. And it felt really good to just make an improvement to our home ourselves, because I'm very quick to be like, just pay somebody to do that. But we were like, let's try this out. Anyway, it was fun. So the pride of ownership piece is huge because when you're in a rental, even if you take good care of it, you're not putting any money that you may put into it is not for you. It's for your landlord. So my mom loves to make improvements on her rental. And I'm like, please stop doing this. All you're doing is improving the value for somebody else and you're spending the money on it. Yep. So even when you're doing that, even if you feel good about like, okay, the place that I'm living is good and fine and sufficient, it's still not your own. And that pride of ownership is a feeling that you don't necessarily have until you have that pride of ownership. So probably preaching to the choir here. I just wanted to throw that in because we literally just did this. I finished yesterday.
No, and I appreciate that a lot. So I want to kind of add a little bit to that because I'm a little bit older than she is. And I bought my first home in the late 80s. And interestingly enough, I always wanted to just have that thing I can call mine, to be able to have that pride of ownership, and you're going to hear that term a lot possibly today. But with regard to owning the home, understand that there are so many benefits aside from just the affordability part of it or the tax benefits, but it's that ownership of home, that be able to do whatever you want with that home. And the reason why I bring this up is because back in the day when I bought my house, I was able to qualify for a loan. I didn't really care what the payments were at the time. I just wanted a home. So back in the day, and most of you are not even going to know what this is, but the loan that I took out was with World Savings. You may have heard of them. The loan program was a negative arm loan, which most of you probably don't even know what that is, and I'll explain that later if you'd like. But when you have these types of loan programs, a negative arm loan has an interest rate and a payment rate. The payment rate was significantly lower than the interest rate. My interest rate on the loan was 14.95%.
Wowza.
That's a high interest rate. Now, back in the late 80s, I only bought the home for $236,000, I think it was.
Wow, that was a nice house.
Back then it was. So, but even still, even though the housing price is significantly lower than what you hear or are accustomed to today, back in the day, that was a lot. And at a 14% interest rate, that was a lot. And on a negative ARM loan, you're not even paying all of the interest that's accruing on the mortgage. So back in that day, I didn't care. I was still in the mortgage business. I just wanted a home. I wanted something I can call my own, do whatever I want, and say, you know what? I'm a homeowner. And to be able to build equity in that property, because it prompted me to be able to buy another home 10 years later, got into that house, had whatever different financing options. But back in the day too, keep in mind also, when you buy a home today, regardless of what that interest rate is, if over the next year or 2 or 3 or whenever interest rates do subside, you can always refinance. I'd rather refinance my home that has more equity than wait 2 or 3 years from now, buy a home because of the increasing home prices, now maybe get a lower rate, but pay a higher price for the home and have built nothing in the interim.
And maybe be priced out of the area that you want or that exact home that you're looking at.
That's a great point. So getting the home today, being able to refinance down the line, and I've refinanced many times over the homes I've owned over the years, and it's just giving me the ability to obviously make it more affordable by refinancing, but I have built equity in property over the course of the last 35 years. So that's what we're trying to promote to buyers. Forget about what's happening today. Get into the home today, because I promise you, over the course of time, you're going to build equity, you're going to build wealth, you're going to build growth in your personal financial capabilities, and it's going to be a great thing for you 5, 10, 15, 20, 30 years down the line. Buy the home now.
And just to piggyback off of it, I want you as realtors to understand this is a good story to internalize, because we hear this all the time. I bought my house, 40 years ago, and it was 12 cents and a pack of gum, and I thought that was so expensive and all this stuff. The idea here is people get into it thinking this is a bad idea, this is so expensive, I don't know how I'm going to be able to afford it. Did you regret buying that?
Never regretted it, but I had the same thoughts. That's a great point to bring up. When I bought the first home, my first thoughts were, can I afford this? Can I do this? How can I do this? How am I going to make the payments on this place? And then I bought the next home, selling one, buying another, higher price, higher interest rate. I'm sorry, not a higher interest rate, higher payment rate. And then you get into it going, what did I do? Can I afford this? Can I make this work? And then when I bought the third home, which I now still live in, and it was a $750,000 home back in the day. That was 20 years ago when I bought that house. So 20 years ago, I spent $750,000 on the home, and I'm like, oh my gosh, can I do this? Can I afford this? So I've always asked that question every single time I've bought any home I've owned. But here I am 20 years later after owning that house, was able to refinance, got a great interest rate. The payments are almost nothing because of the rate I've got now. But realistically, it was one of those things where, can I do it? Can I afford it? Am I going to be comfortable? Can I sleep at night? Can I make this work? But I was able to do so. Just because I took the effort or made the effort to jump into something, and you make it work.
And I think people also don't factor in the fact that you're going to get that appreciation and equity. But not only that, chances are a lot of W-2 employees, their wages increase every single year. When you are a realtor working at W-2, or not working at W-2, hopefully your wages increase every year. So your wages are increasing, but if you're in a home, your prices are not continuing to increase with that. Your prices are staying the same, relatively.
Correct.
Okay, keep going.
So again, I just wanted to just kind of point out to get people out of the doldrums of the negativity that they're feeling right now and getting them into a positive mindset by looking at all of the benefits that they can achieve by owning the home, both currently and in the future. So I just think it's going to be a great thing for them, and always try to keep reminding them, ask the question, what is the reason behind your decision to buy a home? Forget about the negativity. Let's focus on all the positive things, because I assure you, buying that home today could be a little uncomfortable in the beginning, like I had felt when I purchased my home, because I was wondering, can I do this? But when you're also working with professionals such as Brittany or myself, or you guys are working with your clients, you're helping clients feel more comfortable with the positive aspects of not only purchasing the home, but the affordability of it as well. So getting them in front of your preferred lender, Martin Rosenblum, Motif Mortgage, to be able to purchase that home and make sure that everything is comfortable and affordable. Not only have I been doing mortgages for the last 40 years, but I am also a financial advisor for the last 25 years. So I look at people not just from, here are your qualifying ratios, you qualify for the loan, great. I look at everything from a standpoint of, is this going to be comfortable for them? And I can show them with all of the other attributes of their finances how they can make other aspects of their finances work for their benefit to be able to afford or better afford the home that they're purchasing. And that's a great way to be able to get them to talk with your preferred lender in being able to help them understand not just that you qualify for the home, but that you can comfortably afford it as well.
Absolutely. And that's something that we always want to talk about is like, the idea is you look beyond the interest rate and you talk about, can I afford the monthly payments?
Yes.
Because for me, I don't care what my interest rate is. I don't really even know exactly what my interest rate is. I want to make sure I can comfortably afford the mortgage. But the emotional benefits and the non-tangible benefits, I mean, they are kind of tangible because you have an actual home, but the benefits of this far outweigh the costs, in my opinion.
And that's a great point also. So if you're renting, your landlord can do what? He can, or she can, raise the rents on an annual basis. They can also, hey, you know what? I'm selling my house. You got to move. What's that going to do to you? So
Yeah,
by owning your own home?
I mean, very true. I just worked with a buyer for a property, and the seller was selling it. It was a duplex, and the tenant had been there for 10 years.
Wow.
And the new buyer said, I don't want any tenants, so get them out. After 10 years.
Yep.
I mean, I just think about that, you know, like nobody's kicking me out of my home unless I stop paying the payments, then they might. But, you know, nobody's coming to kick me out of my home. Nobody's going to sell. Nobody's thinking about anything like that. They're not going to sell it out from under me. It's a benefit.
Very much so. It's huge.
I hope that helped. And don't forget, we're here live every Tuesday at 9:30 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. Join me live to get your questions answered in real time by registering at the link in the description below. Let's keep building, growing, and closing those deals. And don't forget to like and subscribe and share this with another agent who needs this. You've got this, and I've got you. And I'll see you in the next video.